Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another installment of the Oshkosh West Index Podcast. I'm your host, Hunter Willis, joined by my new co-host,
All
Joe
right,
Mayo.
my name's Joe Mayo. I'm an opinion editor, and excited to be on this podcast with Hunter. Excited to talk about some current events, sports, entertainment, all that. So should be fun.
Yeah. So we're just going to start this off by apologizing. Technically, this is season two. It's the second year of the Index Podcast, despite there being only one episode in the last one. But hopefully, we'll get some more going in here before we go virtual forever and ever. All right, so that actually kind of is a nice segue to our first topic for today, which happens to be just Corona in school and just how it's been like affecting us all. Because it's been, I don't know about you, like about your experience with it so far, but like as for me, it's just kind of been like it's been a little bit more stressful now that we've switched to like the all at home than it originally was, and I feel like I'm doing more work. But
Yeah, too. I mean, I don't hate the new schedule. It's not terrible, and it's not too time consuming. At least like when we're in Zoom calls or Google Meets or whatever.
yeah,
But I do feel like that we've had a lot more like work, a lot more catch up since we were only in like half the days. It hasn't been too bad, but I feel like it's definitely been more stressful, like you said.
yeah. Like I mean, like maybe the workload hasn't been as much as like it normally is, but it's just been harder to manage now that like we've all switched to at home. We've got like all of these resources around us, like phones, and it's easy to get off task and just not focus at all.
For sure, I totally feel the off task thing. Yeah, just keeping up, and it's been kind of a struggle, but we'll all get there eventually. We'll all get used to it, like we had to last year, and we'll see where it takes us from there. Hopefully, eventually we can get back. Get to actually putting out some paper copies of the index, but for
Yeah,
now we're just at where we're at.
yeah. That's another thing. Like I don't know. I'm pretty sure that like now that we've all like seen what the index would look like on the website, I'm pretty sure we have to do this for like everyone anyways. But like it's nice to have a paper copy and not have like the entire weight on like the web squad for this one because it's a little difficult to manage time and whatnot. But let's
Yeah,
take it.
totally agree. I mean, always production's always a lot of fun too, putting together the paper copy, and
Yeah,
it's always a good time. But
feel kind of
it,
bad for the new editors who can't kind of get to like experience that right off the bat. But
it's true. That's true. But they'll hopefully get to it eventually when we go back to school, or
yeah,
if we go back to school. Something to look forward to, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
uh, yeah. So um, so you're how do we feel about the whole having like meetings with teachers instead of just like kind of being flung out on our own with the whole school stuff?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like either way, it's gonna be difficult. So I mean, at least maintaining a little bit of communication isn't bad. But at the
Right.
same time, what we did last year, I feel like worked pretty well. Where like we just kind of got to do our own thing, and it wasn't as structured. Obviously, that's better for our time, but
I feel like
when it
it kind of takes away sometimes. Like when we like meeting with teachers is nice when you have questions, but like when they're required, like every time, and
oh
then they have like assignments on top of that, and I'm just like kind of on the struggle bus here. Like it's
yeah,
hard to manage.
I feel like it's definitely been hard with knowing like when you have a meet one day and then the next day you don't have a meet but you still have assignments
Yeah,
or even more assignments since you're not meeting, and it's sometimes a little difficult to keep up with, but we'll get used to it. I mean, I'm assuming I have no idea, but I would assume that we're not going to go back right away, especially
yeah,
with cases it's trying to rise. So
yeah.
it's unfortunate, but
I feel like it's only gotten worse since like the we left.
yeah, for sure.
Has
I
not
mean,
gotten better in our area.
and you'll shout out our next opinion article is actually going to go over how the U.S. responded to COVID compared to other countries, and I feel like we definitely like could have been out of it by now, or at least in a
Yeah.
better spot than we are right now. But that's how it's gonna have to be for a while, and until we can find a vaccine, or until we maybe treat COVID a little more seriously. But for now, we're just gonna have to, I guess, kind of wait and just try and social distance as much as possible.
Yeah. Gotta get rid of all the people who aren't wearing masks. Gotta reduce that population if we want to do anything about this. And
Yeah, that's actually been something that's been on my mind. People, what I don't understand, I should say, is how people who aren't wearing a mask, like, see it as, like, an example. If you're going, say, to the store and you're wearing a mask, it's like you're keeping them safe. But then they decide to not wear a mask, meaning they just have no regard for your safety. Because, I mean, if they have it, I mean, we don't know if the masks do anything, but it's not gonna hurt you to just put a mask on and just stop crying. Like,
yeah, I 100% agree with that one. Like, it's funny to kind of watch videos of like these crazy people who are in like a Walmart or whatever and like refusing to wear a mask, and then they're like, "Well, if your mask works so well, why do I have to wear mine?" It's like I think you missed the point on what that's for.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's just, I feel like if everyone's not gonna wear a mask, it just defeats the whole purpose. I
Yeah,
feel like it's just something where it's gonna suck. It's annoying. It's not wearing a mask isn't fun, but I think it's just something you have to put up with just for being safer and making your community safer.
yeah. We don't want all of our efforts to be for naught because a couple of people decide that they don't care about them, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's also like it's what's been kind of horrific for me lately is the people who like are sharing the death rates and like they're like this is so low we should be opening stuff up and I don't think they realize like how contagious this is and like if you actually like run the numbers on like the US population versus those death rates how like horrifying the output is.
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate. I mean, I can see where people might have, like, why they might get that idea, but I feel like it's just, you need to just think more about how others are going to be impacted, how some people are very immune compromised. And it's not fair to just expect them to suffer just so you don't have to wear a mask in a grocery store. Like,
Exactly.
you're going to be there for, like, an hour tops. Like, just put the mask on.
You'd think it'd
That's
be
how
that
I,
easy.
yeah. I would hope it would be, yeah.
So that's kind of a nice segue too, talking about like anti-mask and stuff. So we've got an elections coming up, right? We've got our first debate tonight. Interested in that as we're filming. It's the 29th, so interested to see how that kind of plays out. Uh,
Yeah,
so have you heard
just,
about Fox News? And they're like, this one, if I don't. I could be getting this wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's a Fox News like sponsored one, so it's gonna be on Fox. And I think if I remember correctly, they like refused to fact check Donald Trump like live as updates because people were upset about like all the misinformation that he was spreading.
really.
But
Oh, I didn't hear about that. Yeah, I mean, it's on both sides too. It's interesting how on both sides just information can get spread so false, and I mean, it's just the bias just in media in general has just been kind of annoying lately. Just not putting out, I feel like, the content that media should be putting out, which is like unbiased and letting you choose your opinion, kind of giving you their opinion and forcing it to you.
yeah,
I feel like there's a lot of problems with media right now, and I can understand where people might get mad at those issues, but it's just unfortunate, I guess, how I feel like it's also unfortunate how people have turned against the media so much too, though.
yeah, like
I mean, there's different sides to both of it.
yeah. It's like the I feel like it's kind of insane that we don't already have like live fact check on like both sides. Like I don't really care necessarily
Exactly.
about
Yeah.
President Trump specifically, but I just like if someone says some garbage that like has no base whatsoever, like I mean I think it's our right to know about that.
Yeah, and I mean, I think some people will catch that, but I feel like the majority of people are just gonna just think like they'll just take that to heart, like if right when it's said, and just they'll take that position so strongly, even if it's the wrong position or if
Yeah.
not even wrong, but just a false position,
Yeah.
like something that wasn't even true. Or
That's like
I mean,
the
it happens both like it happens both sides. It happens
definitely.
on both like both like multiple media outlets on that are favored on both sides. Like you'll see Fox News and like MSNBC. They're honestly just both biased, and it bothers me just to see the amount of bias that's in news.
It's crazy. It's like totally reshaping, and I feel like it's gotten so much worse as of like late. But I don't know. I mean, I just like I don't know if it's just that like now that I'm in high school, like I've just started paying attention to politics, but I feel like everything has changed within the last like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I agree. It's it's definitely been a weird change, but cause I mean, it obviously could just be because when we were younger, we didn't really pay as much attention
Yeah,
to it or
definitely.
anything like that. But it's an interesting like adjustment to see where there's just almost like a distrust between the media and like both sides or both political groups.
Yeah. So, just a reminder, just want to throw this out here for those West students watching who actually have the ability to vote right now. Joe, are you one of those students? Can you vote?
Not yet, no,
All
but I
right.
know where you're going. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I'm urging you guys to go out there and vote. It doesn't matter political opinion if we disagree or not. Just exercise that amendment right.
Yeah, I mean it's your right to vote, so just doesn't matter who you're voting for. Get out there and exercise your right to vote.
Exactly.
I mean that's the most important part.
And some juniors this year actually made a nonprofit organization from West, and we've got both a web package and an actual article coming out during the release of our our actual newspaper this year, or not this year, but like this
Yeah.
issue, which is October 2nd. If you guys want to check that out. So yeah, Annika Larson and Simone LaBille Steffens and their Let's Vote Wisconsin, a nonpartisan nonprofit organization which just wants to get voting education for the K-12 program, which I think is really awesome. So if you guys want to read more about that or watch more about that, there's both a web package and an article coming out October 2nd. So check that out.
Yeah, and I mean check out the paper as a whole. Check out our web packages. You're obviously already on the site if you're watching this, so
Yeah.
feel free to peruse at your leisure, as Mr. Scott would probably tell you. Um, but yeah, just get out there, vote, and read that new index paper, or not paper, but new articles that are going to be coming out soon. We hope you guys find something you like in there.
So next topic on my list, I ironically have named football is back, but I don't know if you know the news about today's Tennessee Titans and Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, I heard about it. Of course, it's the Vikings. No hate to any Vikings fans out there, but
Yeah.
it's not surprising.
So we've got that threat now. Like, I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're gonna have to, do what the MLB was kind of setting up, where they have to have players like players stepping in, almost like a practice squad type of thing, which is obviously gonna hinder the amount of talent on your team. But
Yeah, I mean,
I
like
mean, keep people safe. That's what you're gonna have to do.
Tennessee Titans are playoff talent. Like 3-0 right now, off to a fantastic start. I would hate to see their season hindered on that.
Did they say who got it from either team, or is it just?
I think they haven't released any specific names, but I think 8 players tested positive for the Tennessee Titans, and then since it's like they played 2 days ago, they shut down the Vikings facility as well, and I believe they're going to start doing some testing there. But
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate, but if it's gonna hinder their season, it's just what's gonna have to happen. I mean, it's the same thing as if Aaron Rodgers got COVID, or not trying to speak it into existence, but
like I
or
mean,
anyone on the Miami Dolphins got COVID. Two Dolphins over there, but
it's magic.
but I mean, it's just understandable that you'd have to maybe sit them out until they get better, but
I mean, I'd be lying to you if I said I couldn't have saw this coming. With the lack of like actual genuine procedures at like not genuine procedures. That's not what I'm looking like the word I'm looking for here. But what I'm trying to like get at is the NBA had a bubble. The MLB had a bunch of like practice squad people who they had already on deck for if someone like would run
yeah,
into this. I mean, the NFL just doesn't have any of that. They don't really have a solid plan for if this scenario were to happen, or at least none that we know of. But I guess
yeah.
we're gonna see what they have in store coming up.
The NBA got it right. I feel like
Precisely.
I feel like it would be a lot harder for the NFL to do a bubble type of thing. But if they really wanted to play, they definitely could have done it. They have the money, they have the resources. I think that's probably what they should have went to, but
Yeah,
I mean,
NBA is obviously a lot less players, but also like I remember they were talking about like the possibility of football starting up, and like in the initial conversations about it, at first they were talking about like the theoretical bubble if they were to do it, and a bunch of players came out and was like, "That's infringing on my rights," and it's like, well, I mean, do you want to play and get paid this year,
yeah,
dude?
yeah. I think it's sad how many players are like against playing, but I mean, I can understand their concern. Like Lorenzo Kane was a big loss for the Brewers this year because he said he was going to sit it out. I can understand why, especially if they have like kids or a family and just wanting to keep them safe. But I feel like once you're complaining about how like making the league safer is infringing on your rights, I
Mm.
think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, like
Like I think it's
I remember like a lineman for the New York Giants sat out this year because he was like battling cancer or whatever, so he's like severely immunocompromised, and like if he
yeah,
got coronavirus, it would kill him. And then there are people who are just like, meh, I don't like the precautions, meh.
yeah. I mean, he did the right thing there too, sitting out. I mean,
Yeah,
it makes total sense, and there's nothing but respect there. But I mean, I feel like people who like fight that just don't really understand how serious the virus is getting or has been. And
yeah,
it's just kind of sad, but
definitely.
it's yeah.
So speaking of Lorenzo Kane, what you were talking about before, we got some. So is the regular season of the MLB is over, right? Just
Yeah,
ended.
the Brewers just squeaked by to make the
Clinched the
playoffs.
last seed.
Yeah.
I'm a Cubbies fan, so we won the
Hey,
Central.
we'll see, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see where it goes from here, but all I'm saying is the Dodgers, they got to watch out. The Brewers they're on the rise here.
The comeback
Like
kids.
move over Mookie Betts, our sub 300 Christian Yelich is ready to battle. So
Well, I mean, you guys fought like there was a while. I believe you were like, hold on, what was it? Was
we
it like
were we
seven
were
to
under
eight games?
500.
Was it like
We
seven or
were
eight
under
games under?
It was pretty bad. I know we got to a losing streak of about 4 like a week or so ago,
Hmm.
and it wasn't looking too good. But it's good that we battled back. We're back in it a little bit. So
Still an
and it's
impressive push.
yeah. I've been following like the bubble a lot more this year than the Brewers, and it's been weird, especially because they're not playing as many games in the MLB. It's just
Yeah,
been a weird season watching them only play. What is it, like 80 or 60? I think it might have been
I think it was
60.
60.
Yeah, it's really weird because they usually play 162 games, and now they're playing such a small sample size, and it's it's really weird to see like the Padres, the White Sox absolutely dominating.
Right.
I was so confused, and then the Reds made the playoff. I think that's an important. I think it's every team from the NL Central made it except for the Pittsburgh
Yeah,
Pirates.
Pirates are garb though.
They're terrible. But I mean, that's 4 out of 5 teams. That's literally half of the NL teams. Because I think there's 8 this year.
Yeah. So do you
I think
know?
that's insane. That
Yeah. Do you know how the playoff is gonna work? Like, how many games are in the first round? Like,
I thought I read there was 3, but I could be wrong.
so
I
they're
thought
they're doing a best of 3 in the first round.
I could be wrong though.
Okay.
But yeah, I know the Brewers are playing the Dodgers first round.
Yeah.
I don't know when their first game is, but I think it's
Honestly, with the the bizarreness of this year, I could 100% it's not entirely out of the picture to have the Brewers beat the Dodgers in round one, especially like looking at last year what they did at full strength.
it's a 3-game series, so it's anything can happen, especially when it's like so short of a round.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's getting into NFL territory there with how it's like 1 game elimination. Then we have like the 9-7 Giants knocking off the 16-0 Patriots, like 2007. Might have some crazy stuff going on this year.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it and watch how it watch how it opens up. Watch how the Brewers maybe make a little playoff push here, but I can't get too ahead of myself.
Hey man, if you beat the Dodgers, you can beat anyone in the National League. Honestly.
Honestly, I mean Christian Yelich is a MVP caliber player. So I mean not this year, but
who's gonna get MVP this year? Like I haven't even been paying enough attention to understand like.
Fernando. I think it's Tatis Jr.
Oh yeah, from the Padres.
He's been insane this year.
Yeah.
He's up there. I mean, you can never count out guys like Mike Trout for
Definitely.
the AL. I mean, I don't know. It's been an interesting year seeing guys like him emerge. Guys like Tim Anderson, I think his name is, of the White Sox. It's been a weird year, honestly, for baseball, but it's exciting to see some new faces, and kind of sad the Brewers never really made a strong few years push. It's been a little on and off, mostly off, but we're getting back into it a little bit. Christian Yelich just helped that a lot, so
definitely.
no, I'm excited to see what happens, especially next year when we get Lorenzo Cain back. So hopefully get Lorenzo Cain back, but I guess you don't really know what's about to happen with coronavirus.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm obviously, like I said before, I'm a Cubbies fan, so not really a ton to worry about here. We've had some success in the 2010s, not gonna lie. Got a World Series under our belt.
Got one. The first in, what was it, over 100 years?
It was over 100-year drought.
But yeah, I mean, so I have a question actually.
Okay.
So where did the Cubs fandom? Where did that come from?
Well, so
especially living in Oshkosh, Wisconsin.
All right, so
I know there's a lot of Cubs fans around here, but I feel like I have to ask.
My dad was born in Illinois, right? So he grew up like his whole life, and like he's the sports head of the household, so he made sure to raise us as Bear fans and as Cubs fans. And both the Bears are my second favorite NFL team now, and the Cubs are my favorite MLB team. But
okay,
yeah, so that's where that came from.
Yeah, but it's been a weird year for baseball, like I said earlier, especially for. I just read Yelich started 1 for 27 hitting. I mean, that is just terrible.
Especially for like defending MVP.
And then Cody Bellinger didn't get a home run until August. 5 for 36 at one point.
I feel like those are the two guys that were like up there for competing for it, and like, man, that's got to be like the worst start for like a defending MVP ever. I feel like there's got to be a stat.
Yelich was almost below the Mendoza line, sub 200. 205, and Bellinger was only 239 with, I mean, they had 12 homers each. That's just, that's crazy that it can change so much, especially, I mean, it's an off year this year, so
Yeah.
obviously it's hard to kind of judge him on especially this short of a
Mm.
year where I don't know about the about Bellinger, but for the Brewers not having Kane, who is obviously a mentor for these guys and just
Yeah.
a big voice in the locker room, having him really hurt the whole team. And I feel like a guy like Ryan Braun he's got to kind of step up there and be more of a voice, which I feel like he's not really struggled to do, but he hasn't really like had to be that sort of voice in the past.
Yeah. I mean, I just think like it's such an off year for every sport. I think that whoever wins these championships, I don't think it should be like it should obviously be regarded as a championship win or whatever, but I don't think it means as much as a typical championship, except for like football because there's really nothing that changed about it as of yet. So I mean, really, we should when we're looking at the performances of athletes who have definitely shown that they are like peak human beings on planet Earth at their sports.
Yeah.
We should take this year, this weird off year, with a grain of salt, and it's whatever.
What I've also enjoyed watching this year, Daniel Vogelbach, have you heard of him?
I have not.
So he was actually drafted by the Cubs, I think. And he plays for the Brewers now. And whenever I've watched it, I've seen him, play pretty well, at least for the Brewers.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's been pretty entertaining just to watch some guys you might not expect to hit well or to
Hmm.
play well. Like, I've never even heard of this guy before this year, and now I'm pretty sure he's like a starter for the Brewers. So
Yeah.
it's just interesting to see that the emergence of players who you wouldn't have thought about, especially like this year.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's one thing that it's been good for. Like a lot of quiet names are getting their opportunity now, but still crazy.
Yeah. Um. I mean, with that, and so I guess on the topic of sports, I think it's really important to talk about the NBA Finals
Mm.
this year. So let's hear your prediction. Heat Lakers.
I am going Lakers in 6.
Lakers in 6. Okay.
Yeah.
I personally, I'm obviously a big fan of Tyler Hero. Excited that he's been doing well, especially because he's from Wisconsin. It's been awesome to see him play this well for as young as he is. And see, it's just really tough for me to pick against the Heat right now, especially after what they did to Giannis and the Bucks.
Yeah, but I mean, LeBron and AD are kind of a different breed.
They can be, yeah, I know. It's kind of a toss up here because if the Heat pull this upset, it would just be so amazing to see. At
Mm.
the same time, it's really hard to watch and say, like, watch the Lakers and say, this is a team that just beat Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, and the Nuggets, who have been on fire in the bubble.
Yeah.
Just beat this team in 5 games. So I don't know. It's hard to say. I would like to say Heat in 6,
Mm.
and I think I'm gonna say Heat in 6.
All right.
I think they're gonna pull a surprise here with I feel like the Lakers are really gonna come in and not really expect like what the Heat have been doing. I don't think they're really gonna be expecting that, and I feel like just the coaching with Spoelstra has been amazing. Coaching them to the finals like he did. Jimmy Butler's been playing really well, and then Tyler Hero averaged almost 20 points per game in the Eastern Conference Final.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's also hard to talk about Bama Adebayo with like the defensive presence he brings, like just an amazing two-way player. And I think the matchup with Adebayo and AD is going to be really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I think AD is definitely going to win it because he's just a more versatile player. He can, Bam Adebayo great defensive presence. You know, he's all-star, really kind of broke out this year, but Anthony
Yeah.
Davis, you just like there are very few defenders who can cover all facets of his game, and now that he's worked that 3-point in, he's kind of unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the fact that we're not talking about LeBron on the Lakers is crazy. How AD has really stepped up and led that team. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not saying LeBron is like washed or anything, but if you look at what happened to them last year, not even making the playoffs versus what they had with AD,
Yeah.
I'm excited to see if AD stays next year or not. Because I feel like with how dominant he's been, if he went to like a team, for example, such as Chicago, which I'm pretty sure is like his hometown,
Yeah, it is.
you see him going to Chicago on the Bulls, I feel like that could be a huge revival for them.
Yeah, with Zach LaVine too. That would be a pretty good
I,
deal there.
that would honestly be crazy. I would love to see that. Even as a Bucks fan, with them having to play,
Yeah.
you know, I feel like that would still be very interesting to watch. You know, that rivalry and AD getting in the really getting the Bulls, and I think it would be interesting to see him propel them. But it's also hard to see why he would even leave the Lakers if they've been this successful with him.
Yeah.
But I think it would also be interesting to see another year of LeBron without anyone else and see what the Lakers could do.
Yeah.
Because I feel like last year is kind of unfair to judge LeBron, especially with the injuries.
Definitely. Yeah.
But I mean, the other storyline of the Heat and the Lakers, LeBron's old team,
Yeah.
obviously it wasn't going to be the Cavs and the Lakers, but
Yeah, it's definitely a cool little Cinderella story for him.
yeah, I'm sure. I mean, there's obviously going to be some added motive, it being his old team, him wanting to show out. It's going to be interesting what he does, and I'm excited to see how the series plays out.
Definitely. All right. Well, I think that brings us to the end of the first episode of season 2 of the Index Podcast. We've been talking for about 32 minutes now. I think it's time we get out of your guys' hair. But I'm looking forward to a good year for these. It's going to be fun bringing on like new people and just it's going to be a very interesting experience, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, all right.
So our next guest, I don't know when the next Index podcast coming out. You should probably look out for that. Maybe 2 weeks from now. There'll definitely be an Instagram post on the Index Instagram account. But we will be hosting Tyler Wright, a junior, and he is a varsity offensive lineman for your Oshkosh West Wildcats. So look forward to that.
Yeah, it's going to be a good episode. We're excited to sit down with him, talk about what he thinks about Corona and sports, and it's going to be a great time. We're happy everyone here that tuned in, watched through the whole episode. Thank you for that. Happy to have you here, and just look out for that next episode, and we'll get that to you guys soon.
And make sure to check out issue 1, volume 117 of the Index, your award-winning school newspaper, coming out October 2nd, this Friday. So, keep an eye out for that. Read the articles. 100% digital this issue, but we'll hope to get a paper one out to you next time. So we will see you guys in the next episode of the Index Podcast, Season 2.
All right.